Brit Hume, Fox News Channel's senior political analyst. Brit, it's fascinating to watch this emerging as they look for new leadership after a drubbing that obviously, based on the laughter from George Stephanopoulos and friends in that soundbite, nobody thought they were going to have to deal with.
That's right. They didn't expect they were going to have to deal with Donald Trump, and I don't think very many of them thought Bernie Sanders, many of the establishment Democrats, thought Bernie Sanders would go as far as he did, and he gave Hillary Clinton, as we all now know, quite a race. And I think that the Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, Keith Ellison wing of the Democratic Party is really where the party's heart is. That's where the energy is. That's where the drive is. That's where the passion is. And I wouldn't, it's possible Tom Perez, the Obama Labor Secretary, might yet win this chairmanship, but that doesn't disguise the fact that this is a party that wants to go left. That's where its heart is. And it may be where the party goes. And, of course, it's not common for candidates or leaders who represent the outer edges of the two parties to lead them to victory. But in this day and age and in this era, who knows, Martha? Who knows?
I mean, you look at the places where they lost the presidential election. You look at Western Pennsylvania. You look at Michigan. You look at Wisconsin, the blue-collar Rust Belt areas in those counties that voted for President Obama twice and then flipped and voted for President Trump now. And you ask yourself, what should they do to win those voters back? And you got to scratch your head if they think that this is the path to expanding their party again, Brit.
Well, I think that's right, Martha. Another way to look at the equation, and this is, I'm sure, the way a lot of Democrats feel, is that Hillary Clinton failed to turn out the key core constituencies of the Democratic Party in the way that Barack Obama did.
He said as much himself.
She couldn't fall back on this extraordinary turnout from blacks and Latinos in the way that he did. And the result was that she was therefore vulnerable to an upsurge on the Republican side of the votes from the key blue-collar areas that you just described. So I suppose you could make an argument that if they have a candidate of the left who stirs the kind of passion that Barack Obama did, that they could win in spite of the losses they would suffer in some of those blue-collar areas. I don't think it's a very powerful case, but I suspect that's what the thinking may be.
Well, when you go back and dissect a little more of the process, and you pointed this out, the anger that was felt by Bernie Sanders supporters over this whole superdelegate issue, that Hillary had locked in those superdelegates before people even got a chance to vote in the primaries, and they felt that Debbie Wasserman Schultz was helping her. And as you point out, Brit, that may be a dangerous road for them to go down here as well.
Well, it's worth remembering, Martha, where the superdelegates came from in the first place. Back in 1972, George McGovern, who had been the leader of a commission to reorganize the Democratic Party's nominating process, and a process he'd learned in the process of designing it, really, got the nomination and got slaughtered in a landslide by Richard Nixon. They got Jimmy Carter into power in the Watergate aftermath in 1976, and then he was completely wiped out in 1980, and the party leaders felt thereafter that the democratization of the process that had led the grassroots campaigns of McGovern and then later Carter needed to be reined in so they wouldn't put up any more sure loser candidates. And so they gave the party leaders a bigger voice by making them superdelegates to hundreds of them.
Yep.
And they were a bulwark for Hillary Clinton, and their job, really, the whole idea was you didn't want to get some candidate from the fringes stealing the nomination and leading you to a landslide defeat. So they did what they were supposed to do, protected Hillary Clinton, but she ended up losing.
Exactly right.
So the case for them is now, among the rank-and-file Democrats, I think, considerably weakened. And Bernie Sanders, of course, complained about them all the way through the primary season. So they may well be on the verge of scrapping that, which would really open the way for a candidate from the left edge of the Democratic Party to sweep to a nomination. And then who knows what will happen.